You're sitting on the sofa, maybe scrolling on your phone, or just resting after a long day. You might be thinking about work money, or simply worrying about the future of yourself and your family. But there's a question that very few people dare to ask out loud. When the world is becoming more chaotic and power is concentrating in the hands of just a few people, what will the richest do to protect their wealth and control? They won't stay on Earth like the rest of us. They will leave instead of just owning luxury things on Earth like before. They are quietly building their own territories in space. These places are not hotels or regular research stations. They are massive space stations designed as independent sovereign territories. Places with their own laws. Places with their own defense systems. And places that are almost completely free from the control of any government on Earth. Have you ever wondered, why don't the richest people trust Earth anymore? Why are they willing to spend trillions of dollars to build places that only they are allowed to enter? And more importantly, how exactly are they doing this? In the next 20 minutes, I will take you to the year 3000. I will show you how the richest people are building their own space empires. These places are not just assets. They are weapons. They are the ultimate insurance. And they are the key to escaping all control from humanity. This is not science fiction. This is what is happening right now. And once you know the truth, you will never look at power and wealth the same way again. You ever wonder what the richest and most powerful people will do to protect their wealth and power when humanity reaches the year 3000? They won't stay on Earth. They will leave, while most of humanity is still struggling to survive on a dying planet. The ultra wealthy have already moved on. They no longer settle for private jets or distant islands like in the past. Instead, they now own massive private space stations floating far beyond Earth's orbit. These stations are not hotels or research facilities. They function as real sovereign territories with their own laws, their own defense systems, and almost no interference from any government on Earth. Can you imagine a world where certain individuals and corporations can own entire regions of space and treat them as their own private nations? They don't ask for permission. They create their own rules and answer to no one. To understand how this became possible, we need to go back in history. And this is the part most people are not supposed to know. It all started with the Outer Space Treaty of 1967. This was one of the most important agreements ever signed regarding space. The treaty clearly stated that no nation could claim sovereignty over the moon or any other celestial body in space. Its purpose was to prevent powerful countries from turning space into another battlefield during the Cold War. At the time, world leaders agreed that space should belong to all of humanity. However, the treaty only applied to governments and nations. It said nothing about private companies or wealthy individuals. This single loophole would later change everything. As technology advanced in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, a small group of billionaires began investing heavily in space. At first, they claimed they only wanted to explore space for the benefit of humanity. But behind the scenes, they were already thinking about ownership and control. They realized that whoever controlled space would eventually control the future. Instead of openly declaring ownership like nations once did, they worked quietly through complex legal structures, offshore companies, and favorable jurisdictions. Over the centuries, these private entities slowly gained more and more power in space, while governments on Earth remain focused on their own problems. By the mid-22nd century, several powerful corporations had already begun asserting control over regions beyond Earth's orbit. They started building larger and more advanced space stations, many of which could support thousands of people. These stations were no longer just scientific outposts. They became self-sufficient communities with their own economies and governance systems. By the year 2500, the idea of nations in space was no longer science fiction. And by 3000, many of these private space stations had become almost completely independent from Earth. These stations are not simple structures floating in space. They are technological masterpieces. Each one is equipped with advanced closed-loop life support systems that can recycle air, water, and waste for decades without needing resupply from Earth. Energy is generated through miniature nuclear fusion reactors combined with large solar power arrays. The stations also have highly advanced defense systems capable of detecting and neutralizing threats from hundreds of kilometers away. Most importantly, they are largely operated by sophisticated artificial intelligence that can make complex decisions without human input. Some stations even have the ability to produce food through advanced hydroponic and synthetic biology systems, making them truly self-sufficient. But building something this advanced was never easy. It required enormous wealth, groundbreaking technology, and extremely sophisticated legal engineering. Almost none of these stations are owned directly under an individual's name. Everything is structured through multiple layers of companies, holding entities in trusts based in space. This creates several levels of legal protection and makes it nearly impossible for outsiders to identify the real owners. In addition, many stations are deliberately placed in special zones in space where Earth's laws have little to no authority. This strategic placement allows their owners to operate with a high degree of independence and legal protection. This is how the ultra-wealthy were able to create true sovereignty beyond Earth. Of course, the cost of building and maintaining these stations is astronomical. The initial construction alone can cost hundreds of billions, sometimes even trillions of dollars. Ongoing expenses for security, maintenance, technology upgrades, and staffing are also extremely high. However, for those who can afford it, the investment is considered worthwhile. These stations offer something that could never be fully achieved on Earth: complete control over their environment and protection from external threats, whether political, legal, or military. Now I have one serious question for you. If you had enough resources in the year 3000, would you choose to stay on Earth under the control of governments and international organizations? Or would you leave to build an entirely new life in space where you could make your own rules and control your own future? Leave your honest thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If this episode changed the way you think about wealth, power, and the future, like the video and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. In the following episode, we will explore another powerful asset the ultra wealthy are using to protect and expand their influence beyond Earth. Thank you for watching until the end. I'll see you in the next one.